Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another entry in the Jason Friday the 13th series. And that is the long-awaited Freddy vs. Jason. Which is also kind of nice, because I was going to save it for when I did the Elm Street films, because this does feel... I think of it more as a Freddy movie. Even though he kills one person, Jason kills a bunch. It feels more like a Freddy-fueled movie. Which I'll get into what I mean by that. Of course, fans have wanted to see this concept since the 80s. And then, because the ending of Jason Goes to Hell, when Freddy's glove grabs Jason's mask down to hell, fans have been aching for this terribly. And of course, you know, that was back in 93, 2001, we got that abysmal Jason X. Sort of as a way to make money and make fans happy until they can make this. Because this was in development hell for almost 15 years. They couldn't get it made. They couldn't find the right script. And I mean, there was over a dozen scripts. There was around 15 different writers, you know, all together at different times. And finally, just someone had a good enough script come along, written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift, who I think Mark Swift writes with Brad Fuller. He does. Mark Swift writes with Brad Fuller on all the like Chainsaw Massacre and Amityville Horror, all the modern day remakes. Now, backstory, this was released in 2003. I was in 6th grade. I remember seeing a trailer, summer going into 6th grade. I'd already known who Freddy and Jason was. I've only seen a couple of their movies, like on cable and rentals. But I thought it was awesome. I was like, this is super cool. I didn't see it in theaters, but that Christmas I got all the Elm Streets and all the Friday the 13th. Or almost all the Friday the 13th. And then this came out on DVD in January. I got it the day it came out, watched it after school, and I thought it was awesome. Looking back, I don't think it's as awesome as I used to. I think the novelty had kind of worn off. I still enjoy the movie. I mean, it's just a high concept fan film. It's a big concept just to please the fans. This is a movie that, you know, who cares what the critics say or anything like that. It's just, if fans want to see Freddy and Jason go at it, they finally found a concept that worked, and they put it out. I did say novelty wore off. That's not quite what I meant. I don't really know how to word it. I mean, the movie itself isn't as good as I thought it was when I was a young kid. But considering how versus movies usually are, this one's actually pretty good. And I think they did go about it the best way. Especially considering, like, when you watch Camp Crystal Lake Memories or Never Sleep Again, the long-ass documentaries for each respective series, they talk about some of the treatments people have written that were just terrible. Where they each get sent from hell to see who can collect the most amount of souls, or, I mean, it's been a while since I've watched either one, so I don't really remember, but there was a lot of bad ideas for this. And this one was the best. Which, if you think about it, some of it kind of stems from Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, like a script that never got used, which is Freddy's pretty much been forgotten. He's been forgotten, he's lost his power, kids don't know who he is, they can sleep again. So in order to instill fear, he has to he says he searched the bowels of hell and found someone. He awakens Jason. And somehow Jason gets from New Jersey to Springwood, Illinois, and just starts killing kids. And they automatically start thinking it's Freddy. But then ultimately, when Freddy's more powerful and can start haunting and killing in dreams again, Jason gets in the way. And he's not willing to step aside, so Freddy has to stop him. And they have a fight to the death. And yeah, I would say it's done the best it could. One thing I really remember is all the friggin' publicity stuff. Like, there were posters like this everywhere. You know, Slicer and Dicer, the place your bets. They had a lot of, like, wrestling, like, shit-talking press conferences. And, of course, everybody has a side. You know, butterfly effect. Yeah, everybody has a side. Even if you love both series and both characters, everybody has a side. I have always been Jason. I've always been more Jason. And one thing I really like about the movie is the opening. You know, the opening, you sort of get the backstory of Freddy Krueger, which, yes, I know we all know. About how he was burnt to death by parents, he was a child murderer that got off on a technicality. And then the next scene is, you know, when he says, I found someone. It shows a woman skinny dipping at Camp Crystal Lake, and then she gets chased and killed by Jason. I like that opening. It really sets up who these two are, where they come from. The one thing I can say I'm not a fan of is the cast. Like, our lead is a Monica Keena. She's not a very good actress. Kelly Rowland, I don't really know why they got her from Destiny's Child. Jason Ritter, I thought was alright. I don't really remember who everyone else is. Of course, Robert Englund, the one and only Freddy. It would have been nice to see Kane Hodder. I know a lot of fans were pissed about that. Kane Hodder not playing Jason. But I like what Ken Kersinger did. He sort of made him sympathetic. Which, of course, whenever there's a versus, you gotta, I guess, if you're rooting for one, you gotta feel for him for some reason. These are two of Hollywood's biggest serial killers, slashers. How in hell can you make one more likable than the other? But I've always thought Freddy was the more evil one, and this movie really plays on that. You know, because when Freddy's trying to get... I don't really need to go into the plot, because there really isn't much of one outside of these two. I mean, when Jason starts killing people, there's this one kid, or this one guy, he played, he was actually the lead in The Werewolf of Fever Swamp, Goosebumps. Because I was a huge Goosebumps kid. And when I saw this, I recognized him. His brother was supposedly killed by Freddy and covered up. Because the whole, like, Hypnosil and stuff from Dream Warriors is mentioned in this. So that's why he helps get it into people's heads that it's Freddy that's killing these people. And that's what's giving him his power. I love the cornfield rave. I mean, there's a cornfield rave and Jason's there. And he is just going around just slashing people. Like, he kills like 7 or 8 people in one scene to Freddy's 1 in the entire movie. Especially when Jason's on fire and he throws that flaming machete right through the fat kid. And also, one thing I can give this over, like, Batman v Superman is that the whole third act is a fight between these two. Not a 5-minute fight in a 2.5-hour movie, an hour 50 minutes in. It's pretty sad when I'm a as big a Batman fan as I am, I think this is a better versus movie than Batman v Superman. But Freddy's able, he sort of possesses this guy that is clearly inspired by Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, Jason Mewes. He's got long hair, snow hat, winter coat. He's a stoner. He sort of talks all hood. Possesses him and just injects Jason with a bunch of sleeping shit. And that's when our group of characters decide we got to get Jason back to Crystal Lake. Monica Keena said, I'll go under to sleep, pull Freddy out, and then they can fight. Which is kind of funny that not only is Jason able to get from Crystal Lake to Springwood, Illinois, like it's no problem, they're able to drive there in like normal driving distance. Like it's still nighttime. Which I'm pretty sure I've heard. I know on one, because I have His Name Was Jason and Camp Crystal Lake Memories, and I think it's like a 4 to 6 hour drive. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, Freddy gets the upper hand when he's in the dream world. He humiliates him. He exploits his fear of water. Uses his powers to just, send Jason all over the place like a pinball. There's even pinball sounds. But, just totally uses and abuses Jason. But I love the look on Freddy's face when Monica Keena pulls him out. And they're in the burning cabin. And he looks, sees Jason just slow motion coming towards him. He has like this, I'm fucked now. Because Jason's like a 6'7", which that's the main reason why they got Kane Hodder. Why they did get Kane Hodder, excuse me. Because they wanted one guy to just tower over Freddy. So Ken Kersinger, who's much taller. And I do like Ken Kersinger as Jason. I like the look of him. This is actually the only one, other than Jason Goes to Hell, where you don't get to see his face. You see like this much of it. So then, they're just going at each other. I mean, Jason gets some good chunks out of Freddy. Of course, Freddy's faster. He's got his glove. He's slashing shit, and, they end up from the cabin, then they're outside by, I guess this roller coaster. Then they end up on a dock, and by the time they're on the dock, I mean, they really play with the fact that these two won't fucking die. Because by the time they're on the dock, I mean, they're completely bloody, taking chunks out of each other. Freddy's got no arm. And they really do make Jason out to be like the hero. Because, Monica Keena. Well, no, first, Freddy's about to kill them. Her and Jason Ritter. Which, I guess Ronny Yu, the director Ronny Yu, hired Jason Ritter because his dad was John Ritter. May he rest in peace also. And John Ritter was in Bride of Chucky, which Ronny Yu directed. Jason sort of saves the day because just as he's about to slash him with Jason's machete, Jason sends Freddy's own arm with his glove through Freddy's chest. Monica Keena says, "Welcome to my world, bitch," which they ripped off in the reboot, decapitates him, and then Jason just sort of floats on the water. She drops his machete. He just kind of accepts his fate, I guess. He doesn't do anything. The end scare or not scare, but I know Ronny Yu said he wanted an Apocalypse Now with Jason slow motion coming out of the water, carrying Freddy's head, and Freddy wakes. So it's did anybody win? I always thought Jason won. Not just because I'm a Jason fan, but Freddy doesn't have a fucking head. Also, I mean, it's a good looking movie. It looks pretty Hollywood, early 2000s. But it does stay true to both characters. It doesn't deviate from them at all, I don't think. I would say the makeup on Freddy isn't that great. I mean, it's better than Elm's Dream Child and Freddy's Dead. Much better than that. Just, I don't know what it is about Freddy's makeup. Just when I watch it now, it's kind of distracting. I just don't think it's as good. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a novelty movie, but I think it's done well. It's just, you know, it's very true to both characters. It doesn't really have a winner. It's just both of them just slashing the shit out of each other, so fans of both sides can enjoy it, and I think it's done well. Has it held up? Sure. I don't see why it wouldn't have. I also like the look of Jason's dream world, where it's like the camp, but it's sort of like, oh, can't. It sort of reminds me of the Alvin Schwartz Scary Stories Tell in the Dark. Like when it shows the cabin with all the souls in the cabin, it sort of reminded me of that. The demonic Freddy, I liked that makeup. I liked it for that scene. I would have liked it for the whole movie. But yeah, I mean, there's really not much to talk about other than just these two fighting. And for how long this movie took to come out, how long fans had to wait, of course, I'm not part of that group. I didn't grow up with these movies in the 80s. I was just getting into these characters when this movie was coming out. But it's as good as it's going to get. I'm glad a sequel has never come out. It doesn't need it, ever. It's just, because then after this, you had Alien vs. Predator. That got a sequel. But as far as versus movies go, not counting like Godzilla ones, this is as good as it's going to get. And I think this is the truest way to make it that is true to both characters. A story that can make sense or make the most sense and make fans of both sides happy. So in that sense, I think it's well made. And I think it's very fun. Which, at the end of the day, that's what it's supposed to be. This is a movie that's just meant to be fun. So, that's the next to last movie. So, I only have one more left. That's the 2009 reboot. So, for Room 237, thank you for watching.